Yes, finally we have started recording. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for joining me. So we'll go on without wasting time anymore, right? Kindly forgive me. Salat and Maghrib came here a little bit, just few minutes before Maghrib. So I had to pray before coming, right? So that's why we're starting a little bit late today. So pardon me for that. Right, yes. So starting healthy sex conversation with your child. What do we mean by this? Last week we spoke about preparing our environment to actually start healthy sex conversation. And today we're going to be talking about actually starting. What are the things that we need to put in place? What are the things that we need to do? We already know that sex conversation is a very inconvenient conversation that parents find it very difficult to have with their children. And this is majorly because, like I said, that it was not part of the curriculum that was given to us. I said that even if you are not if you are not following a particular curriculum in parenting, if you don't have anything that you follow in parenting, and you just find yourself parenting, you just find yourself raising your children, you are definitely using a particular curriculum. You don't just know. And what you are just doing is that you are using the templates that was given to you by your own parents. That's exactly what you are doing. So there's no vacuum, like I always say, there's no vacuum anywhere. So I said that this is difficult because it was not part of the template that was given to us. What was given to us was just fear, it was shame, it was it was fear, it was shame, and all of those things, right? So it was not a part of it. So a lot of parents face this conversation with either fear, with shame, or serious warnings. You see parents seriously warning their children, right? We need to know that that is not even sex conversation, because when we talk about sex conversation, it's not about the operation of sexual intercourse. It's not about sexual intercourse. There's more to that, right? Before we even get to that, that part, right? So in today's session, we'll be discussing how to start healthy and safe sex conversations with our children without facing it with fear, without doing it in shame or unnecessary warnings of all kinds, like our own parents did it, right? So this is mostly needed in our time, as platforms are increasing every day. Platforms are increasing every day where children can learn different distorted things about sex, and that's exactly it. Platforms are increasing every day. Children are no longer learning it through phones anymore. It's not just phones anymore. They learn it through the TV. They learn it through friends. They now learn it through games. They learn certain things through games too, right? So, and the awkward thing and the sad thing is that they're not learning what is good about it. Of course, they are learning the distorted things about sex. They are learning things that are actually not what they are supposed to be learning, what they are supposed to be exposed to, right? So some of the talks that we have with our children are most of the time they are unsafe, they are unhealthy. And the thing is, I don't want to say they are obsolete, because things are changing, things are evolving. And we have this without knowing it. We do not even know that this conversation that we're actually having might not be the safe ones. We are not actually telling our children the things that we need to tell them, right? So sex conversation is something that evolves every time. It is something that changes. If you were in last week's session, we made mention of this, that things are changing. So the more things change, is not those who attended sex education last week, is not the same thing we are going to be talking about today. I was talking about molestation that happens digitally. This is something that is now very rampant. So people can actually molest your children without even meeting them, without even meeting them physically. This is something that is very, very possible, right? Yes, thank you so much, Miss Modesola. Yes, right. I'm a Yoruba girl now. So sex conversation is something that evolves every time, and this is because of changing times. Some can't face that conversation because they feel that it is that particular topic is something that should be discussed in the corner of the bedroom. It should be discussed in a particular place, or many things. Some can't face that conversation because of traumatic experience, maybe because they have also been molested, they have also been abused, and they have not healed from those things, right? So those are some of the reasons why people cannot have that conversation with their children. And the truth is, like I said, we're having it, we're not having it, our children are definitely learning. We are having it, we are not having it, our children are actually learning. So when we talk about the fact that children can actually be molested via phones, via games and all of that, you can imagine a situation whereby your child is playing a game, people all over the world. We have games platform like that now. We have Roblox, we have there's this other one too. I've forgotten the name right now, that we have, that people can play with so many people around the world. People that they don't know. They're actually strangers, people they don't know. So you can imagine when a child is playing a game, just an innocent child playing a game, and that child is being asked to send his or her nude pictures, right? A child who doesn't know anything, maybe it could be for followers, it could be for gifts. We have all of these gifts that are being shared, that are being given on those platforms and all of that, right? And because so many people are so crazy about followers these days, so many people are so crazy about going viral these days, they can do anything to go viral. So you just have that conversation with that person, and maybe you're sharing your picture, that child is sharing pictures, that child is sharing so many things. This is something that can actually happen, especially when our children are not, they are not in the know. They do not know whatever it is that is going on. They are just children. They are just being children. They are just playing their games. And we have people that are disguising as young people out there, and they are sharing what they are not supposed to be sharing. They are speaking with children the way they are not supposed to speak with them. So it is only obsolete to teach public and private parts. That's one thing we should know. So if we're still in that place whereby the only thing we're teaching our children is, don't allow anybody to touch your private part, don't allow anybody to touch your public part. We spoke about it last week, that it's a disempowering phrase. It is a disempowering sex education. Is it good to tell children not to allow people to touch their private part? Of course, right? Yes, it should be comfortable. We'll get there and we'll pick all of these points one after the other. This is just like a foundation to why we're talking about having safe and healthy conversation, because we can no longer shy away from it, right? So we need to know that it is obsolete for us to keep teaching public parts, private parts, because like I said, that when we talk about molestation and all of that, it does not necessarily start from those parts that we're talking about. Right, so we need to move away from teaching only private and public parts to empowering our children with more than enough, with empowering them to know that the whole of their body parts needs to be honored, not just their public parts, not just their private parts. So it is something that we now know. So we need to now shift from, private part and public part, because abuse is now something that can happen even if people are not physical with us, even if people are not around us. This is something that is possible, because even as adults, if anybody should send any picture to you, if anybody should send any video to you, you have been abused. Yes, that's just the truth. Not to talk of children, right? So children are now being molested digitally, and these are the things that we will be discussing in our upcoming course, Sex Educate Your Child with Care. So if you have not registered for that course, this is another opportunity. The early bird offer is still on. Yes, it's still very on, whereby you are going to be paying only $3,999, right? You are going to be paying only $3,999 to find yourself in that course. It's going to be a 4-day course, and you're going to be getting even guides that are going to help you to lay the foundation of sex education with your children. The truth is, if we do not lay the right foundation, we're going to miss it. Because it's not just about, don't allow so man to have sex with you. Don't sit on this person's laps like we were taught. So having a healthy sex conversation isn't something that can be done by you alone, because you can't cover all fronts, right? I will say that again. Having something that can be done by you alone, because you can't cover all fronts. Why are we saying this? We're saying this because if you have decided to educate your child, and you have given that child enough education, you feel that, okay, yes, I have tried my best. Definitely, your children will go to school, your children will go to madrasa, they will meet lots and lots of other people there. So you can imagine if, let's even talk about your children's friends. Let's talk about your children's friends. Who are the people that your children has as friends? What relationship do you have with their parents? And that's why it's not enough. Wherever it is that you find yourself as adults, wherever it is that you find yourself, contribute your own quota towards passing the right sex information or having the right sex conversation. And it cut across, sharing all of this information to other parents too, using your own platform to also propagate all of these things. This is something that is very important. Don't keep information like this to yourselves. Like I always say that your room is too small to actually raise your children. Your room is too small to raise your children. So you want to invite other people that are caregivers to your children. You want to invite their teachers. I decided to invite my friends. I decided to pull them into the course because I know how important it is. If I have an information and they do not have it, I'll be so scared that my children cannot even, go spend 2-3 days with them because the information that I have, they do not have it. So I have to make them also come into the session. That, okay, yes, I'm going to invite you for this. You are going to be a part of this. You like it or not, you'll be a part of it. Because we all need to know. A lot of the time, where we start running helter-skelter is when the deed is already done. Then we start looking for solution. Instead of us to have actually done things that will actually prevent our children from being abused, from being molested, and equipping them with the necessary information that you have. So, a lot of the time, too, when we talk about these things, what crops into the minds of parents is that, okay, my child does not have an access to gadgets, my child does not have a phone and all of that. But we need to know that they will definitely mix with people. They will go to school. They have students who comes to school with their laptops, who comes to school with their phones, who comes to their madrasa with, devices like that. Your children's friends will also be a great influence. And that's why also in sex education, we're going to be talking about friendship because it's a part of sex conversation. So when we're saying that sex conversation, sex education, it's not just about talking about, the mechanics of sex. So the friends of your children will also be a great influence when it comes to sexual discussions. So what does your children's friends, your child's friends, their parents, what is it that they know? What are they feeding their children? What are they equipping their children with? This is something that we need to know. This is something that we need to be aware of. So it's not just about, okay, yes, I'm going to educate my own child and I'm going to be quiet. It is very, very important for us to actually create this awareness, reach more parents, because man can't even live in isolation. This is something that we know already, right? So please spread the information as an individual, as a school owner, as a madrasa owner. Please share this information to parents. Let them also come and learn. Let them also be a part of this. Let this be a movement. Let it be something that we'll continue to talk about. We'll keep talking about. Not that we'll now start finding solutions when the deed is already done. So please spread the information as an individual. If you're a school owner, in your capacity, in any capacity that you own, please share this information to other people. So what are the things that we need to do to actually start a healthy and safe sex conversation with our children? The first thing that we need to do is that we need to start early. We need to start as early as when our children are born. If you are waiting for 2 years, if you are waiting for 3 years, you are already getting late. Yes. Because last week we spoke about the fact that sex conversation is not just about the things you tell your children. It's about how you prepare your environment for your children. So you need to start early. No matter the ages of your children. I see people, say things like, my child is just 7 months. We've heard so many cases of very young children that are being molested. It is about your environment. We spoke about how you have an, migration plan. How you have an immigration plan into your house. Who are the people that are coming into your house? Who are they? How well do you know these people that are coming into your house? So it is something that you have to start early. Start as soon as you start having children. Start small. And start in small chunks. If you wait until your child grows or get to the puberty stage, because that is what a lot of parents say, this child is still small, don't expose them, don't do this. Silence is not ignorance. I would appreciate if someone can help people that in the comment section. Silence is not ignorance. You feel that, I don't want to expose my children. They do not know anything yet. Let me not be the one to expose all of these things to them. Let me not do this. And we continue like that. Silence is not ignorance. So we need to start as early as possible. If we wait till our children, if we wait till our children becomes, they get to that puberty stage, we are already late. I like to say that, you see some of the mistake, we would have it easy, only if we can sit down and reflect. A lot of us, we just find ourselves, like I was sharing about my story of starting menstruation. It's something we just started. Then we were running helter-skelter. Some of us were embarrassed about it. Some of us were shamed about it because we got stained our first time. We didn't know anything. I heard the story of a girl who actually, who started menstruation and was almost crying, was running away, was doing certain things that does not even make sense. That the parent of that child has failed. So it is not waiting for them to, because that is what is common. That is the template that was given to us. That is the template that was given to us. So we just see it as, okay, when the child starts menstruating, then we now sit that child down. Then we now start saying something like, hey, you're now a girl now. You're now you're now a lady now. You're now a woman now. You can now give birth now. If any man should touch you, yes, we all had it like that. Please share your experiences. A lot of us had it like that. It was when we started menstruating. For us, for female, when we started menstruating, for male, they didn't even have anything. Because maybe nothing so, spectacular happened. Or even if it happened, they didn't even tell their parents. They just lived on. They just continued to live life. So if you wait until your child becomes get to that stage of puberty, until that child is an adolescent, then you have done your child a great disservice. Because there are certain knowledge that your child should have had before that child gets to that stage. As early as age 1, you should begin sex conversation with your children. Yes. As early as age 1, you should begin sex conversations. Like, we're not talking about conversation. Speak with your children. Speak with your children as early as age 1. And never teach your children public or private parts, please. Teach your children to respect and to honor their body. Instead of teaching them, this part is public, this part is private. Let them know that their body is to be respected. Their body is their own. And they have that right over their body. If they are not comfortable with shaking people, if they are not comfortable with hugging people, if they are not comfortable with just pecking people, it is their body. They can decide. Let them know. Because it is from these teachings, that is when they will know that, okay, yes, when somebody is touching me and I'm not comfortable with it, then I should speak out, then I should talk, then I should do this. But if they do not have that lesson, if they do not have that teaching, then how do they get it? They are not going to get it. Or they are even going to get something worse. So no matter what, part of having healthy sex conversation with your children is that you need to start early. Yes, start early. We don't know what to say. Register for sex, educate your child with care. This is why this course is put down for us. Yes, we've not had it, but now researches has been made. Things, we have gone far and wide to actually bring resources together that is actually going to help us. So let us take advantage of it. 3,999 is not too much to actually get the knowledge that we need. I posted something yesterday and I was saying that what is that advantage that your child is going to get for you raising them? What is that advantage that your child is going to get? Is your child just going to get the advantage of going to the best school and finish up with the best grade? That's fantastic, but it is not enough. It is not enough. Don't allow your children to struggle in the things that if they knew about earlier, then they would have done well. This is something that is so, so important. Start as early as possible. Start early. Start early. I'm so sorry. Give me a minute, please. I'm trying to see if this is working. So yes, the first thing we want to do is that we want to start early. So what else do we need to do in order for us to have healthy sex conversation with our children? Number 2 is that we should see it as normal. We should have this conversation with our children as something that is normal. Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to see something. Sorry about that. Number 2 is that you need to talk about it normally. It is not a sin. It is not haram. It is not haram. It is not a taboo to talk about sex with our children. It is not haram. There is no, yes, we have to be modest with it, but not talking about it is not always being modest with it. Not talking about it, that's not what modesty is. Not educating our children is not what modesty is. We need to educate our children. It is education. It is not a sin. It is not taboo. It is not haram. It is not demonic. Let us talk to our children about it. Yes, a lot of people find it difficult, like I said from the beginning. A lot of people find it very difficult. Right, so intentional parenting is about breaking that cycle. Breaking the cycle of what is not appropriate that we have made appropriate. What is not normal that we have made normal. That's exactly what intentional parenting is. We're facing this conversation with the truth. You know, when it comes to discipline, we'll talk about it. When it comes to raising independent children, we'll talk about it. When it comes to abusing our children, you know, physical abuse, we'll talk about it. Now we're talking about, yes, it's a hard conversation. But part of being emotionally intelligent is facing hard conversations. We need to face them. Because if we do not face them, those that will face them, those that will, you know, say even things that are wrong, and they're still bold about it, they will do it. Of course they will do it. They don't care. The world doesn't care. Like people will say, the world does not care. So intentional parenting is about breaking that cycle of what is not appropriate and we have made appropriate. We think that, you know, not talking about it is appropriate, but it is not appropriate. And that's why we need to start facing that conversation. It's about breaking the long silence that has exposed so many children to harmful information. Research has shown that so many children have been molested. I saw a news yesterday, and I think a man was arrested for raping a girl in UK. I'm going to share that information. And what that man said was that happened because, how do I say it? That happened because he did it in UK because where he's coming from, people who have been molested or who have been abused do not complain about it, or they do not report. Yes, they do not report cases like that. And that was why he did it. You can imagine. This man is a Nigerian. So you can imagine something like that, okay, I'm doing this because it is wrong. You know that it is wrong, but because where you are coming from, people do not complain about it, then you feel that it's a normal thing. That is what happens when we have decided to be silent. Some parents are so, I don't know, we'll say that we are so gullible to the extent that maybe somebody who is close to our children are going to molest them. Then we'll say that, hey, yes, let's just cover it up like nothing happened, because we do not want to put the family name into shame. Yes, this is something that happens. This is something that happens. So we fail in the part of educating children. We also fail in the part of protecting them from harm. Then we also fail in that part of taking the right step, even when the deed has been done. The story that I shared at the beginning of this month about a child who asked a mother what the vagina is used for, and the mother, discarded the question, and the child went to ask a male teacher. It's actually true. Yes, it's a true life story. It happened to a 12-year-old. And that child was raped just because the mother didn't know what to say. Just because the mother shied away from that topic. Just because the mother has seen something, the child was just asking, what is the vagina used for? A simple question. But because we have seen it as a taboo, we have seen it as something that is maybe a sin or something that is demonic, I don't know. Then we exposed, that child was exposed due to the ignorance of the mother. And one thing is that we need to know that the curiosity of children don't go away. Yes. The curiosity of children do not go away. So sex conversation is not about teaching the operation of sexual intercourse. No, that's not what it is. It's about equipping our children with what is right, letting them know what is wrong, letting them know what is acceptable, and letting them know what is not acceptable. Part of sex conversation is making your child know that if a male teacher ever invites you to his private office and you're not comfortable with going, don't go. Even if your mark is going to be taken down. But that is part of sexual education. It is about letting our children, equipping our children with what is right, with what is wrong, with what is acceptable, with what is not acceptable. It is about preparing our children with age-appropriate skills to navigate the social menace of their own time. We had this menace in our time too. But then it was not as rampant as how we have it now, right? Yes, we accept that because we now have different platforms whereby children learn all of these things, where they are being abused, where they are being molested. So it is time for us to now take it upon ourselves to have this conversation with our children and not shy away from it. Remember that saying of Ali bin Abu Talib? We all know this is something that is very popular. We've made mention of it so much on this platform that we should not raise our children the way we were raised because they were born for a different time. We were raised in a way that we weren't spoken to about all of these things. We just found ourselves, getting married. We just found ourselves giving birth. We just found ourselves doing a lot of things we were not educated about it. So we can no longer shy away from deep and inconvenient conversation. Yes, it might be inconvenient, but there are certain ways that we face it. There are certain ways that we do it that we do not even find it as something that, we shouldn't talk about. It is about teaching children what is important and what they can, what they can satisfy. What they can sacrifice, letting them know what they can sacrifice. So you can imagine a situation whereby your 12-year-old understand that it is better to lose marks than to go meet a male teacher who has invited him to come maybe for something. And the male teacher is telling him, make sure you don't come with anyone, or make sure you come when so thing is happening. That is part of sex educating your children. It is not just about, shouting, hey, you did this, because that is the template that was given to us. Imagine building your children to be self-aware about sex education. Imagine that. Imagine when your children understand the fact that, okay, yes, this is the right thing, no matter how young they are. So you want to ask yourself, how self-aware is your child? How self-aware is your child? Is your child aware? Does it know about the things that they are supposed to know, the age-appropriate things that they are supposed to know? How sexually aware is your child? Answer that question. How sexually aware is your child? The problem that we have is that a lot of the time, we want to take the role of Allah. We want to take the role of Allah of protecting our children because we feel that, okay, yes, they are still around. They do not know so much. They do not know anything. Then we're protecting them. We're protecting them. We're not equipping them. We're not parenting them in a way that we're equipping them with the things that they need to actually navigate life challenges. So it is not our own job to protect. Allah is the sole protector. He's the only one that can protect. Our own duty is to parent our children, is to equip them with the things that they need. Remember that we can no longer raise these children the way we were raised, because Ali said that we shouldn't do that. We should raise them for their own time because they were born for a different time. And now we are born in a time whereby nakedness has been seen as something that is normal. Nakedness is not something, not flying around is not something that, there's no problem in it at all. So how self-aware is your child? How sexually aware is your child? Right? So I've spoken about the fact that you need to start early. Start as early as possible. Start as early as you start having children. It starts with preparing your environment. Start having conversations with your children. Once your child is 1, they can talk, they can babble, start having conversation. They can hear. The thing is that they can hear right from when they were in the womb, when they were 4 months in the womb. Yes. So have that conversation with them. I spoke about making it something that is normal. making it something that is normal. Don't demonize it. It is not haram to educate your children about sex, because we're not talking about the mechanism of sex here. We're talking about how to actually protect them. We're talking about how to actually equip them with the things that they need to do if at the point in time they find themselves in situations that are not, that are not palatable. The third one is that you need to teach it at every capacity that you can teach it. I spoke about the fact that it is not enough for you to teach your children alone. It is not enough for you to talk to your children alone about it. It is enough for you to spread the news and let other people know that, okay, yes, something like this is coming up. Something like this is happening here. Also come and learn, because your children's friends can influence them. Friend is something that is and that's why we have one full module where we're going to be talking about friendship in the Sex Educate Your Child with Care. We're going to be talking about friendship and how they can actually influence our children. Because yes, friends can actually, we used to say that, show me your friend and I'll tell you who you are. No, it is now show me your friend and I'll show you your future. Because friends can actually make or mar our children. Even us as adults, friends can actually make or mar us if we do not learn how to walk away. So teach it at every capacity that you can teach it. I remember before Lola Loves Parenting was birthed, I was a teacher in a secondary school, and I was teaching teenagers. I remember that my first public speaking with, female students was telling them about how to avoid being raped. That was my first, it has been in me for a very long time. This is something that I know. That was my first, when I say that I want to speak publicly, that was my first public speaking engagement. And I am glad today, if we have somebody here who has been following me, on my WhatsApp status, I update these children, they are now out of secondary school and they reach out to me. They try as much as possible to find my contact, to reach out to me just to say thank you. Just to say thank you. They went as far as telling me that we thought you were doing too much back then when you were when you were always telling us about all of these things. But now we understand better. In every capacity. This time, okay, maybe my child, maybe he wasn't even up to a year back then. My first child back then. But I used everything that I had to communicate, because this was something, I lived in a place whereby this was like a normal thing. As a matter of fact, when I was very young, I used to have this prayer point that, I don't want unwanted pregnancy I don't just want unwanted pregnancy. Like, it was part of my prayer point. Because once children finish secondary school, we had children that finished from primary school, maybe 2 years after they were pregnant. You just be seeing them on the street like this. So it was something that was what I saw growing up. But I knew that it was a menace. I knew that it was not something that we could continue with. But then I know that people need help. People need help to have these conversations with their children. And that time, it's not as if parents were not talking. They were not just communicating. They were talking, but they were not communicating. They were just saying things like, don't go and bring unwanted pregnancy. And at the end of the day, that child comes back with that unwanted pregnancy that you were saying the child should not come with. So this is something that is very, very important. In every capacity, teach it. If you don't know how to teach it, direct parents to where they are going to teach it, to where they are going to learn it. Direct parents there, because I know how important this is. I involved when we were still back at home in Nigeria. I volunteered to teach in my children's school. That's what I did, because I know that my children can be influenced in that environment. And like I will always say, that environment is bigger than value system. If you think that you have your value system, you feel that, okay, my children are just, I've given them, they know that in our home, we don't do this. In this family, we don't do this. This is our own. This is our own. Your children will definitely mix with other people. Your children will mix with other people. Your children will talk to other people. And that's why it is important. If you have not registered for Sex Educate Your Child with Care, please don't do yourself and your children a disservice because of 3999. Because what you are going to be taking away is nothing compared to what you are going to be, getting as value from that, from that course. I tell you, right? So, treat it at every capacity, like I have said. That is part of having, starting a healthy sex conversation with your child. Because it's not enough for you to just educate your child. Educate the people that are around your child, because they will influence your children one way or the other. Number 4 is that you need to avoid lecturing. Avoid lecturing. I would appreciate if someone can help me put that in the comment section. Avoid lecturing. Stop lecturing, especially if you have teenagers, preteens or teenagers. If you lecture, do you know what is going to happen? They are just going to be shutting you, off. They are just going to be, once you start like this, they'll just be like, mommy, I've started. Just inside of them. That's what they will say, mommy, I've started. Avoid lecturing, but ask. Avoid lecturing, but ask. Ask questions. Don't lecture. Don't put your child down there. There are certain ways. If you're having a conversation like this with a male, the way you're going to have it with a male is different from the way you're going to have it with a female. Yes, that's just it. The way you're going to have it with a male is different from the way you're going to have it with a female. So don't lecture. Ask questions. Lecturing turns children off. Yes, it turns children off. Most especially preteens and teenagers. Once you just start talking like this, they're already out. Even if you are seeing them physically, they're already out. Their mind is not with you. As a matter of fact, they will go and make fun of you with with their friends. That's exactly what they will do. They will go and make fun of you with their friends. Then what happens? If something happens to them, maybe they have their crush, their first crush, maybe they have an affection towards someone, maybe something has even happened, or maybe something is about to happen. They now start saying, if I tell mommy now, she'll start giving lectures. Yes, that's what they will say. Then they will just see it as, no, I'm not going to tell my mom about it. They will just start, they will distance themselves from you, because what you do is lecture. And lecturing is not actually educating your children. No, it is lecturing. You know how, we all know what lecturers do, right? So don't lecture. There's a proper way to it, and it can be done via only the right knowledge. And that's why it is important for us to seek that right knowledge. That right knowledge cannot just come to us free of charge. No, it's not possible. It cannot just come to us free of charge. We need to be able to sacrifice something to learn it. We need to be able to sacrifice something to learn it. It's not just about, it's not just about saying things, and the thing is, if we do not have the right knowledge to actually do it, we're going to be doing it with fear. We're going to be doing it with shame. So it is about getting the right knowledge and not doing guesswork. You can't do guesswork. I don't really know how this works here. So many parents, because they don't know what to say, they choose silence. That's what we do. Because we do not know what to say, because we feel that, certain things are too big a words to use, what now happens? We go silent about it, thinking that silence is ignorance. And like I said from the beginning of the session, that silence is not ignorance. Your child isn't innocent because you are quiet or silent about it. I'll say that again. Your child is not innocent because you are quiet or you are silent about it. Your child is not innocent. As a matter of fact, if you are silent or if you are quiet about it, you do your child a disservice. You do your child a disservice. So what are you teaching your children? Wait, do you know that talking to your children about fertility and infertility issues are actually, it's a part of sex conversation. Yes, it's part of sex educating your children. Talking about the female reproductive health is a sex conversation. And that's why I said that we have moved beyond public and private parts. Yes, we have moved beyond it. Have we started talking to our female children about egg harvesting? I heard of a story of two ladies who were taking, science will definitely have a way of passing information to you. There's this thing that they are doing now. They will just take something from your body. We don't know what exactly. And they will give you money. And that's why I was saying that we have raised children to believe that the only thing that matters is making money, is having money. And that's why children will go for egg harvesting from their body. And they'll keep doing it, because if they take eggs from their body and they're being given a huge amount of money, children will go back. Teenagers will go back because they feel that, of course, I'm not being affected by anything. Then what happens at the end of the day? Infertility. Do you know that when we talk about friends, making friends is a part of sex conversation? Yes, it is. It is a part of sex conversation. And that's why I said that in this particular sex conversation, what we discussed in the last, in Sex Educate 1.0 is different from what we're going to be talking about in Sex Educate 2.0. Your children need to be aware. They need to be aware of so many things. They need to be aware of so many things about menstruation, about ejaculation. Yes, when your children get there, about sperm, they need to know, they need to be aware. You know that there are certain things that can put our children, that can put our children in trouble. Yes, there are certain things that because of our children, because of our own ignorance, which translates to our children's ignorance, whatever it is that they don't know can actually put them in trouble. Because of course they don't know. You can imagine a child picks condom from anywhere and takes it to school. Because that child does not know. And because there is carelessness and maybe negligence on the part of the parents too. Then what now happens? You put that spotlight negatively on that child. Menstruation is not something that should catch your children unaware. Puberty is not something that should just come to your child. It is not something that should now be grand, that once it now start to happen, then that is when we now start having lectures, because it's going to be a lecture then. It's going to be lectures. So when we are saying that sex education, sex conversation is no longer about don't shake a man. It's no longer about don't sit on the lap of a man. It's no longer about don't sleep with a man. Yes. If you are still on this table, yes, we're not saying that all of this is not important, but then beyond that, what else? Do you know that when we talk about self-esteem, self-worth, they are all under sex education? Do you know that females actually give themselves out to different male just because they lack self-esteem? Yes, just because they lack self-esteem. They just give themselves out because they feel that they have been raised in a way to feel that it is when they actually perform, it is when they're actually a certain way that they are going to be accepted, that they are going to be valuable to people. Yes. When we talk about self-esteem, when we talk about self-worth, self-control is part of sex conversation. Because it is going to be a lack of self-control that will make children to go and do certain things that they are not supposed to do. Because of course, we all have feelings. We all have feelings. We all are sexual beings. That is how Allah has created us. We all are sexual beings. But a lack of self-control is what is going to push our children out there to go and do certain things that they are not supposed to do. So when we talk about self-esteem, when we talk about self-worth, when we talk about self-control, all of these are all under sex education. So it's not just about don't shake a man, don't sit, don't do this, don't do that. Then when all of this happens, then what else? Children they are pressurized than all of these things. They are pressurized beyond conversation like that. They are pressurized beyond conversation of don't shake a man. There's pressure. There's pressure for our children, and we are in the best position to do the right things to reduce this pressure on these children. Children are pressurized beyond these conversations because a lot is happening out there among friends, among neighbors. I saw a video, I think sometimes last week. It's a very long video, I think over 10 minutes, and I couldn't share it on my WhatsApp, but I think I shared it on, on the community on WhatsApp. And these things are happening. It's not just because we can't hear about it. And we can't even hear about it. It's just that we just see it as, it is not happening to my child. God forbid it happens to my child. And like a mentor would say that God forbid is not a parenting plan. Is not a parenting strategy. It is not. This man spoke about how siblings are cohabitating with each other. Siblings. How siblings are sleeping with each other. How neighbors' children and all of that they're having sexual intercourse with each other. This is something that is, it's now common. And the sad thing about it is that people are now normalizing it. People are now seeing it as something, it's not really bad. It's not really, we need to up our games. A lot is happening out there among friends, among neighbors, among family members, on the internet, on game sites, on the web, everywhere. There's pressure. There's pressure. If you love your children enough, a lot of the time, people say that, I love my child. If you love your child enough, you will strive to get it right. You will strive to get the right knowledge in order for you to parent them better. To parent them better than how you were parented. If you actually love your children, like a mentor will say that you can actually love your child and you kill that child with your ignorance. Yes, it can happen. You can love a child and kill that child with your ignorance. This is something that is possible. If you love your child enough, what you do is you go all out to get the right knowledge to actually raise them the way we should raise them, the way you should raise them, knowing that they are a trust on you, knowing that they are an amana on you. Number 5 is that you need to create an environment where your children can freely talk to you, where your children can freely ask you. What environment have you created? Last week, we spoke about preparing your environment to actually have these conversations with your children. If you were not there last week, you can still go back to catch up on the replay for last week's session. You need to prepare your, and that's why when we're saying abuse, when we're saying molestation, when we say we want to avoid it for our children, it is in the everyday things that we do with our children. It is in the everyday way we parent our children. It's not just about one lesson, then we are off. No. So you need to create an environment where your children can freely ask you. And that's why all parenting lessons, they are interwoven. If your disciplinary strategy is too strict, you will lose your children. You have not created an environment where your children can come and ask you freely. If you have painted yourself to be a perfect mother or a perfect father, you have not created an environment where your children can freely ask you. If you have seen mistakes as something that shouldn't be made, and each time your children make mistakes, you are always on their case, you have not created the right environment for your children for them to ask you, because they are definitely going to be in fear. They are definitely going to be scared to even talk to you about it. If you have created an environment whereby feelings are always dismissed, you see feeling as something that, just get over it. Everything is going to be fine. Or your child is having a big emotion and that child is throwing tantrum, and the only way you can help that child is to beat that child and tell that child to keep quiet. You are not creating that environment for your child. And that's why a lot of time when people come and say that, raising teenagers can be difficult. It can be this, it can be that. No, it did not just start then. It did not just start when that children turned into a teenager. It started way back. It started way back, how you were parenting that child. Don't paint perfection to your children. If you do, what you are doing is that you are creating a bridge between you. I've given you scenarios of when, children will say certain things, and because we feel that maybe we don't want to have that conversation, or because we just want them to be of good behavior, we want them to do better, we dismiss that and all of that. Then they go outside and talk to other people. And those they talk to are telling them that, okay, yes, it's normal. Yes, it's normal. But then this is what you do. Do you know what happens? Children just go, yes, these are the people that understand us. These are the people that are for us. Our parents are not for us. Yes, a lot of the time we do this from the place of love. And at the same time, we do this from the place of fear. We are in fear. We are in constant fear. We are scared. We're scared of losing our children to the world. We're scared of, we're scared of them taking the wrong steps. We're scared of so many things. So we just face all of these things with fear, not with logic. Not with logic. Try as much as possible to create an environment where your children can ask you. When they hear anything that they feel that, okay, I'm not comfortable with this thing, or whatever it is that I've heard, I'm not sure this thing is right. Their instinct is telling them that I'm not sure this thing is right. Can they come to you to actually tell you that, Mommy, Daddy, this is something that I've heard. This is something that I am going through. What do you think? Please create that environment. Don't treat curiousness as a sin or as your child, now wayward. A lot of the time when children come and ask us about things like that, the next thing, that fear is so in us that we start shouting, where did you hear that one from? Don't ever say that again. Where did you, we are used to scenarios like this. It is either that someone has told us before, or I've heard people say these things before. So So we start jittering, we start shaking. Where did you hear that from? How did it? Just like my mom. My mom was, I started menstruating at the age of 14 years. You can imagine. At the age of 14. And my mom was still telling me, I hope you have not gone done something wrong, this, and she was everywhere. And I was looking at myself again. I went to a boarding school. I had people that started like 2-3 years back. Then I'm starting my first menstruation at the age of 14. And look at this woman. She was so scared. I don't know. Maybe because she didn't even start early at all. I think she started maybe at 15 or something. She was putting that fear in me. So now tell me, do you think if I have one big feeling like that or something like that, I will go to her and tell her that, okay, mommy, this is it? Because I know that she's going to shout. I'm just going to keep it to myself. I'm just going to keep it to myself. A child who was curious and was asking, mommy, what is the vagina used for? That child is not being wayward. It's not as if that child has learned something. That child is just curious. So don't treat your children's curiousness as a sin. Don't see it as a thing of, okay, this child is now wayward. Or this child is now this child is now that. And one thing about it is that the curiousness of children does not go away, not until they find answers to it. Sometimes, last week or 2 weeks ago, I was in a session with teenagers. And, we had people, the Next Gen Muslim Conference, and we had people that came and was talking about pornography and all of those things. And that person was saying that all of this stems up from curiousness. Children are curious. And children these days are more curious. It stems up from curiousness. And if they're unable to speak with a trusted adult, which we should be, and some other people that we intentionally put in the lives of our children, a lot of the time, we do not know how important all of these things are. If my child, I can comfortably, I can conveniently teach my children about certain things, emotional intelligence, this. But because I want them to have people around them, I want them to have trusted adults, because I know that a time will come that I will not have so much influence like I have now. So I enroll them for the courses that I can teach them. Yes. I enroll them for things that I can teach them. If I'm unable to, I'm on a lookout for, okay, yes, what are those ones that, that can accommodate my children that are way lesser, 7 years, and lesser. Not that I can't teach them. Of course, we're talking about sex conversation. I can't teach them. We're talking about tantrum controls. We're talking about self-control and all of that. I can teach them. But because I want them to be exposed to people that have the same values with me, people that are going to be trusted adults for them, that they can always go to, they can always listen to. I enroll them for courses like that. That is intentionality, parents. Let's not sleep. Because Shaitan is not sleeping. And we all know how powerful Shaitan is. And this is a way. A lot of the time, we say that we want to raise righteous children. These are some of the things that would not actually help us to achieve that goal of raising children that are righteous. We have heard so many things. Porn conversation, drug conversation is part of sex education. We're going to be having it in sex education, okay? Because we know how important all of these things are. We have heard so many stories. I read a particular story of a man who happens to be, a doctor who uses, traditional medicines and all of that. And the person was talking about children, was talking about majorly, Muslim names of children that are actually going through this. This child has memorized this child has memorized this child is somebody that they see in the mosque always. You can say that these children are righteous, but they are doing drugs. They are into pornography. They are into masturbation. They are into so many things like that. So tell me, whose fault? Is it the children? Is it the children? While it is very important for us to expose children to, you have to memorize the Quran, let us concentrate more on our children living that life of the Quran instead of only memorizing it. Yes, we have read that time will come. Those that were before us, they didn't memorize the Quran as much as we are memorizing the Quran, but they lived the life of the Quran better than we are living the life of it right now. This is something that is very important. We do not want to toy with it. If you actually want to raise children that are righteous, then all of these things need to be looked into. It's not just enough to just pick them, throw them in a particular madrasa and feel that we have given them everything that they need. The last one, we've already used, more time, but because we started late, I decided to add more time. Last one, which is number 6, is that you need to teach boundaries early. Teach boundaries early. Sex educating your children is not an emergency. It's not something you start doing when your child starts growing breasts, when hair starts showing in their poopy parts. It is not something you start doing, when that happens. It's something that you start doing, it's a lifelong thing. It's not a one-time thing that, you just have it one time, then that's all. No. It's a lifelong thing. It's something you keep doing, you continue to do. God will, I'm still thinking of, more resources that I am going to make for those who have registered for this course to benefit from. We're going to have a monthly thing that we're going to be discussing with our children when it comes to sex conversation. Yes, this is something that is important. I know how important it is. So yes, in each month, you know what you're talking about. You know what you're saying and why you are saying it. You are educating your children. You are being an advantage to your child. So it's not something, let us not treat it as an emergency. It's not a one-time thing. You don't start teaching your children about menstruation the day they start menstruating, or the day you start seeing the sign of, their breast growing, or you wait till they start asking questions. Yes, it's very fine for them to ask questions, but then don't wait till that time thinking that they are ignorant. They are not ignorant. The fact that they are silent about it does not mean that they are ignorant about it. And when they start, don't excuse their questions. A lot of parents will do this because they don't know what to say. A lot of parents will do this because they don't know what to say. They shy away from this. Once children talk about it, we feel that, no. Then we'll start looking for something to cover it up. Don't forget, we said it from the beginning that the curiousness of children does not go away. Not until they find something. Not until they, not until they find an answer. And there's every possibility that if they are not learning from you, if they are not learning from the trusted adults that you have intentionally put in their lives, then they are going to be learning it wrongly. Don't excuse their question or shy away from it. Do you know why? A child's curiosity doesn't go away until they find answers to them. In conclusion, having sex conversations with your children is not about being righteous. It's not just about being righteous. Yes, while raising children who are righteous is something that is very important, it is also important for us to equip them with the skills that will enable them to actually live that life of righteousness, because this is something that is so, so important. I hope that you have taken something away from here, and I hope that, there's an action plan for us. There's something that we're going to pick from this session and we'll start doing. If you are not doing anything from this session, come to class. Register for Sex Educate Your Child with Care. What we're going to be unpacking from, that 4 days course is not something we can cover in 3 sessions. That's the truth. That is the truth. It's not something that can just come to us free of charge. It takes time to make researches, to bring resources that we feel it's going to help parents, to bring them together and to bring it to us. So it's something that we need to sacrifice for. This is something that is very, very important, right? So thank you so much for joining me on today's session. We have used more than, usually we would have finished by 6 o'clock, but because we started late today and due to solar, and that was due to Salatul Maghrib here where I am. So I had to pray first before coming. So thank you so much for still coming around, even if we didn't share the information that we are live. I saw people that immediately I came in at about 6:09 or 5:09 or 5:10, people started joining. Thank you so much for staying around. Thank you so much for trusting us here. For people that have registered for the Sex Educate Your Child with Care course, we'll see you inside. If you have not joined us, yes, please, this is another time. This is opportunity. It's just for 3,999. And after this session, it's going to be on our seller page for 7,500 naira. Yes, it's going back to its original price immediately after the 28th of this month, right? So you want to take advantage of this and join other people who are already in class. So thank you so much for joining me. See you again next Friday, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.